Hello, everyone, and welcome to Style Spotters Live. I'm Ashley Grigg, Director of Marketing and Communications for the High Point Market Authority. We're so glad to have you here today. It's a little different, true to form for 2020 than we normally have for our Style Spotters Live events in person. But for those of you who we did see a few weeks ago at Market, we were so happy to have an in-person Market this past October. And of course, for those familiar faces that we weren't able to see in person, we very much look forward to seeing you again, hopefully sometime soon. But either way, whether or not you are with us in person in October, we're thrilled to have you here today for our second virtual Style Spotters Live event. We have a lot to share with you. But first, a few housekeeping notes for you. You are on mute, but we do want to hear from you if you have any questions. So feel free to use that Q&A box to submit your questions throughout the conversations, and we should have some time at the end to get to those. We also are recording today's session, so it will be available on demand to you and anyone who couldn't join us today on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/highpointmarket. Before I introduce our MCs for today, I have two quick polls that I'd like for you to join in and answer some questions for us. Let me pull up this first poll real fast. Here it comes. What is your role in the home furnishings industry? If you could just answer that. Awesome. Let's take a look at what we've got here. Here's who we've got joining us here today. We're glad to have a great representation across the industry with us. That's wonderful. And then let me get you the second question here. We're going to do another question for you. It's actually two questions. Here's another one. Have you ever attended High Point Market, and do you plan to attend a future High Point Market? Great. All right, here we go. Here's some results. Glad to see we have a lot of people familiar with Market joining us here today. All right, with that, let me close out the polls here and introduce you to today's MCs. You probably are very familiar with their faces, but we're very glad to have with us here today, hailing from Virginia, but actually tuning in today from the Outer Banks of North Carolina. We have Gary Inman of Gary Inman Interior Design, and all the way from Texas, it's a pleasure to have with us Shay Gear of IBB Design Fine Furnishings. This dynamic duo has the very important role of Style Spotters advisors, meaning they not only get to mentor the team throughout their year as Style Spotters, but they also get to join us every time we do this event as our MCs. So joining us virtually, but very much looking forward to doing it again in person, hopefully one day soon. Here's a virtual High Point high five to Gary and Shay. Take it away.
Thank you, Ashley. Hi, Shay. Shay, I think I need a new photograph. Don't you agree?
I love it. We coordinate, so it always works well. And I'm giving you everybody.
Yeah, now I look like the
hug.
Unabomber. There I looked very clean-faced. So anyway, I think we may need to update that. I just wanted to say, Shay, I have missed you so much. This feels like a trial separation that's gone very badly to me. So I think we should get back together.
Yes.
So I think in April at High Point Market, we should have a reunion for all of those wonderful people in our lives that we haven't had a chance to see this year. So anyway, delighted to be back, and welcome to everyone who's joined us. We know your days are very busy, so we appreciate you taking the time out to hear from our wonderful Style Spotter stars. They worked so hard to put this together. So Shay and I are excited to be with you. Before we launch into that, I just wanted to say thank you to today's sponsor, Studio Designer, for their ongoing support of the Style Spotter program. Studio Designer is the leading digital project management, product sourcing, and accounting platform for the interior design industry. Today, you'll hear from their CEO, Keith Granite, a bit later in the program. So thank you again, Style for studio designer for supporting Style Spotters program.
Thanks, Gary, and a very special thank you to Studio Designer for the ongoing support of this program. We are so grateful for you guys. So we want to jump right into the conversation today with all of our fabulous Style Spotters. So we want to introduce you to our team. So hopefully you're familiar with them by now because you saw them in the spring. But first up on our 2020 Style Spotters team, hailing from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we have Rachel Cannon. She is the founder of Rachel Cannon Limited, a business consultant for creative entrepreneurs and the host of the Loudmouth Introvert podcast, which is a must listen to. Rachel Cannon. And next we have an avid globetrotter. Nancy Fire calls New York City and East Quogue, New York home, but always keeps her finger on the pulse of global trends through her lifestyle and design company, Design Works International. She has 30 plus years of experience, was formerly the design director of HGTV and HGTV Home, and recently launched her latest endeavor, Nancy Fire Designs, offering her creative and strategic services to brands in the industry with a focus on sustainability. And next we have Joanna Hawley-McBride. She is Washington-based blogger, stylist, and digital influencer with a Pinterest following of more than 4 million. Her site, jojotastic.com, has become a go-to resource for modern yet casual lifestyle inspiration. And then next we have Don Ricardo Massenberg, who's from Durham, North Carolina, based interior design company Design Incredible. He embodies his lasting dream of doing something he loves and enjoys so much that it doesn't feel like he's working, which I think, Don Ricardo, that is such an amazing mantra to have for life, especially right now. So Gary, why don't you go ahead and introduce our 4 remaining team members?
Thanks, Shay, glad to. So first, San Diego-based Rachel Moriarty, another fashionista. Love my fashion folks. Rachel is one of the leading award-winning designers, #1 best-selling author, a style expert, and a leader in the use of color. She has been featured in publications including Vision Magazine and San Diego Home and Garden Lifestyle. She's also been on HGTV and the Design Network. Welcome, Rachel. Yvonne Renderos founded Decor Interiors in 2004 as a full-service residential interior design firm based in Miami, with projects concentrated in the South Florida region as well as internationally. Welcome aboard. Then we move on to Victoria Sanchez. And Victoria has been creating one-of-a-kind interiors for hundreds of prominent clients over the past 30 plus years. She has recently relocated from her hometown of Alexandria, Virginia to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where she has opened a new showroom while servicing her clients nationally. And last, but certainly not least, is Keita Turner. Her New York City-based full-service interior and product design studio, Keisha Turner Design, offers expertise in residential and commercial interiors and has produced environments for numerous high-profile clients across the country. Welcome aboard.
What an amazing team we have this year. It's been such a pleasure serving this team over the past 11 months, although it's been primarily over Zoom and email. But they're old hats at this virtual thing by now. So let's get the digital discussion going. So as we chat about our favorite projects from Fall High Point Market, you'll see the team's favorite picks on slides throughout the conversation. But our style spotters have been hard at work adding many, many more to their Pinterest boards, which debuted a few weeks ago during market. So be sure to check them out after this webinar, and we're going to drop a link in the chat box for you all to see, and you can go search that after this. So let's get started. Gary, you are up first.
Okay. So we're going to begin with case goods. And so Rachel Moriarty, why don't you tell us about your piece by Miranda Kerr?
Yes, I love this piece by Miranda Kerr. It's so beautiful. Of course, I didn't see it. I spotted virtually, but I've seen up close pictures of it. And the front is like this opalescent pearl finish. the hardware on it, it's this beautiful butterfly inspired gold statement hardware, and it's beautiful and it's graceful and it's feminine and it's elegant, and I just think it would be beautiful in any space.
I love hardware. It's like jewelry. And I noticed when I was at market as well, jewelry everywhere, such interesting things happening with hardware. We've seen that for a while now, but it was very prevalent this market.
Yes.
So that's a great choice. Don Ricardo, what about your piece from Caracol?
So Served with a Twist is an amazing bar cabinet. I just love the piece. It's really hard to make a case good, like a rectangular box, look amazing. And I think they've done so good with the embellishments and all the details. You see the oversized hardware, but you open it up, there's tons of storage inside, there's space to serve, but then there's also a tray that you pull out, and it can pull all the way out and be placed on a table, and you can use it for serving and then place it back inside. And so it's a really cool and functional piece.
What about the painterly quality of this? This looks almost like an artist did those doors.
Absolutely. And so this piece is one of a kind. Each piece will look different with this detail on the mirrored front. So I think that's awesome too.
I have a quick.
That's great.
I love this piece, Don. And the texture on the front, is it a digital print? Is it?
So it's actually created with acid. It's like a aged or antique kind of mirror, and then there's an acid thing that they do to it. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. What a great choice.
It's a great technique. Perfect. So next we're going to move to Joanna, and this great piece from South in English. I fell in love with this, Joanna. Tell us what you loved about it.
I also fell in love with it. I think just because it exudes personality and quirkiness that we all kind of need and want these days. And like going back to what Dawn was saying, having a home bar is also probably something we need these days. And I can just imagine this being the ultimate little friendly home bar. And the symmetrical repeat of the vertical ribs, it was a trend that I saw a lot of, even just spotting it virtually. There's so much of that texture happening right now.
Yeah, there's so much rhythm in a lot of furniture pieces we saw throughout High Point.
Definitely.
I noticed at South English, Joanna, they had done versions of this. So there was a smaller table, and I think there was a desk that had these almost half dowels. It was really interesting to see the way they had interpreted this method in different pieces. What a great choice.
I love that the edges, like the top and the bottom of each dowel, are rounded. I feel like that is something I haven't seen as much, where most companies are just leaving it kind of blunt or framing it. Whereas this, it's so cute.
Yeah, I love it because it's like a little bit more free form. And what I'm seeing in a lot of glass and brass is this ribbing technique. So to see it in wood is just really beautiful. So yeah, again, great choice.
Thank you.
You know, it's interesting. One of the founders is British. When I look at this, I see classical reeds. So if you think about, that form, and it's always rounded at the ends. So it's just interesting to know that he's British, and British have classicism ingrained in their DNA. So it's modern at the same time. It's very classical. So it appeals to many generations, which I think is so important. So a great choice. Well, I love this piece from Global Views. Yvonne, tell us about why you chose this piece.
I think it combines a lot of what we were just talking about, which was the knob was just jewelry. It was this beautiful hammered brass round piece that made me kind of want to open it, see what was inside. It's still very simple, but has a beautiful brass detail that it's not something that you can replicate so easy, because metalwork is more difficult to do throughout like custom carpentry. But it was also white, which we use a lot of white pieces because they don't take so much attention, and then you can layer them with like a beautiful wallpaper behind it. I have to second Joanna. I saw a lot of home bars. I don't know if it's trending, if it's the times or what's happening, but throughout High Point, we saw a lot of different furniture companies were debuting theirs. And this one, when you open it up, it has a beautiful glass shelf and it has some drawers. So it could be used either as storage or as a home bar. We just thought it could be implemented in a variety of different styles because it's not so specific to a particular style. So a really nice versatile piece by Global Views that is still affordable and can be used in a lot of different projects.
I just want to
Gorgeous,
say,
Well
Yvonne.
noted.
if I can,
I'm sorry.
I was just
Go
going to
ahead,
say,
Don.
I sourced this piece virtually for a home office that I was doing.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it in person. And so as soon as I walked in Global Views, I was like, oh my God, there it is. And then you talked about opening it up and seeing what's inside. I opened it up because I was going to style spot it. And there was Yvonne's card. She had already gotten to it. And so
How
it's
tall is it,
right,
Yvonne?
it's beautiful. I think it's 80 inches, right? Yeah, I think it's 80 inches tall. It's awesome. It's a massive piece.
And can it be bunched together? Can you put multiple ones?
You could put them side by side. Sure.
Yeah, I sourced two for the office that I was doing. They were flanked on the side of a desk, not together, but you definitely could. It's awesome.
Yeah, and the
Gorgeous.
hardware is incredible. It's funny. I did the same thing, Don. I kind of opened it up and there was Yvonne. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful piece. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So we all have this one in common. I'm glad I got to it first.
Well, these are all beautiful and they're so practical as well. I love the storage capacity. So that's wonderfully done. Thank you for those. So Shay, why don't you take the next four?
Yeah, so we're going to continue with case goods. I also do want to point out really quick for those of you attending, we will be answering some questions at the end. So if you just click on the little Q&A section on your Zoom, you can type those questions in and we'll be pulling questions at the end of this for there. So back to case goods. So Baker Luxe collection, this is just completely amazing. Victoria, tell me a little bit about why you picked the Milanese chest.
It's just one of those pieces that you walk in, I walked in virtually into their showroom, I'll say that. But when I saw it, it's Baker Luxe. I mean, the name says it all. It's glamorous. It's a throwback. It's classic. It's the showstopper. It's the piece that I don't think, it's kind of like a piece of resistance you cannot stop but touch, want, and have. And I just was attracted to it very visually. I kind of don't care what's inside. Perhaps it is a bar. I just would love to have it. So I think it's just beautifully executed and very, very glamorous and a bit of a throwback, but I think it's a classic.
Very pretty. Is that wood with like a gold leaf finish or is
Brass.
it brass?
It's brass
Oh, wow.
on it. Yeah. I mean, the whole Luxe collection from Baker is a bit of a throwback. It's a little 60s, 70s vibe, but the materials that they've used in this collection are, it's Baker. They're just top of the line. Very beautiful, well executed.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I love this next one from Arteria's. Kita, what made you choose this piece? This is insanely amazing.
Yes, I don't know if everyone knows, but Arteria's has really been moving into the accent luxury case good furniture side. So we know them for lighting and accessories, but they really are making headway into this new arena of furniture. So what I really loved about this piece, the obvious thing was the hardware, the overscaled deco inspired brass hardware really drew me to this piece. And then I really love the inlaid brass details that kind of trace the outline and the shape of the frame as well. And as you can see, it's got these curved edges and doors. And I believe that you can use this piece as either, a bar station, or you can use it in your parlor or your living room, maybe even your entry. It's just a beautiful statement piece. It's an oak veneer done in a sable finish, and I just love it.
That's a great selection. That is so beautiful. Like you said too, that's so many different places you could use a piece like that. Okay, so next we have a John Richard, the Carol Benson Cobb console. Nancy, I mean, it's a gorgeous piece. What drew you to it?
It's a beautiful piece. I wish that the picture could do it more justice, because this season I just fell in love with John Richard. It was the first time I was in their showroom, and I have to tell you that all their pieces are amazing because I have pieces for everybody. What drew me to this piece is really when you create a space, you really want to love it every day. And because I think of sustainability and artisan, I just loved that John Richard was able to work with Carol Benson Cobbs on her impressionistic work and actually digitally print it on this credenza. What's great about this credenza is it's very clean and very easy, but there's this beautiful sort of like moment of brilliance when you look at this artwork. And again, in person, it really speaks to you. It's very impressionistic, it's very Monet. Great storage, 6 drawers, and then the 2 open up and you can fit anything and you can make it anything you want. But again, it was so nice to sort of walk into a beautiful showroom. John Richards, who had credenzas for everybody at every level. So yeah, I was so excited to spot this piece.
Yeah, I'm a little biased. Carol's actually from our area, and you're right. She is a magnificent artist and longtime friend of ours. So I love the collaboration with her and John Richards. So good job. That was awesome.
I love that they support artisans and they do it in such a unique, beautiful, luxurious way.
You're absolutely right on that. Okay, so
what
right
is the front of it? Is it glass or is it matte? What is the front of it?
It's metal and it's like a digital print, the way they put this, her beautiful dune expressionism on there. It's so fabulous in person. I mean, next time you're at market, I really, implore you to go there and see it in person because it's phenomenal. Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, so next up we have Rachel's selection with Century Furniture, the Paradigm Chest. I know you're a classic girl, Rachel, so tell us what drew you to the Paradigm Chest.
That's very true. I definitely love classics. I love that Victoria was saying this is a throwback. I'm like, well, if you're throwing it back to the 60s, I'm throwing it back to the, I guess, 1860s. I don't know. I love anything that is, it's not a super heavy traditional piece, but I love that it's got these really clean tapered legs. So one of the things that Century is one of my favorite vendors because you can customize anything. So it doesn't even have to come in this wood stain, which does make it look very traditional. You have an option to order it with a marble top. You can have them custom paint it in any color that you pick or any of their finishes. So if you were to do something like this, I actually love to do chests this size on either side of a bed because I typically feel like nightstands are too small.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you were to do something like this with the marble top in like a high gloss lacquer white, that's a completely different look. And so I like pieces that can kind of be a traditional, but with a twist. And so this is, I've shown this particular piece to so many clients because it's just, the scale is beautiful. Everything Century does is beautiful. So yeah, I love this piece.
Yeah, Rachel.
So what I love about this is you just described the way you could bring it forward. This is French Empire revival. So this would be the first quarter of the 19th century. So you're taking something from 1820, but you're making it 2020 by doing the color and the different finishes. That's really brilliant.
Yeah, I just want to say, and it's also beautiful because it's so timeless. It
Right.
can be anywhere, any day. So beautiful piece.
Great job. Okay, on to our next category.
So on to upholstery. I love all of these forms, and one of the big trends I kept hearing from you guys in your tour presentations and on your boards were these curvaceous forms. So let's go through some of these. Nancy, the Bernhard Aline chair, I saw this as well. I know why you love it. Tell us why you love it.
Okay, so I feel like when I look at this slide, it's the cozy corner, and I felt like
Yes.
when I went to Bernhard, honestly, I could have fallen asleep in the Align chair. It's cozy, it's faux fur. There's a chevron pattern within the fur, and it swivels, so it's just great. Everything about the chair, it fits in. It's just one of these plush pieces that you want to have in your home. It's cozy, it's inviting, and it's just one of these pieces I fell in love with as soon as I sat in the chair.
Nancy, did you notice that Bernhard also had boucle on case goods? They had those wonderful Chanel-inspired pieces, and you couldn't stop touching them because they were covered in boucle. I mean, it's
honestly, I think I've touched everything in that showroom because their textures this season was so spot on. So I felt like the culmination was sitting in this like very fluffy chair that normally I might not see from them. And I just thought it was spectacular. Plus the trend of everything being cozy and sort of, a little bit more earth inspired. It was perfect. Yeah, I just loved it.
I just thought they looked the best they had in a long time. It made it worthwhile to be there, to be able to see what had happened. In
Absolutely.
April
I
market, obviously
Yeah.
some pieces came forward, but
felt
it's
like
really
every room
thrilling.
Went in, there was like a different surprise, and it really was a surprise of texture. And this one was a very soft texture with a beautiful pattern in it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
This is one of the
absolutely.
chairs that we were all fighting over to Style Spot when they did the virtual walkthrough, isn't it?
Joanna, you're up next, and I love this row furniture piece, which is, of course, part of Marcor related to Caracol and art. So tell us why you chose this piece, the Wren chair.
So my background is in print design, and so I always feel a necessity to bring print and pattern into a space. Even if it's just a simple like ivory and black pattern, I think it can really just elevate a space. And this just feels like the perfect cozy chair to do that. And I always love the quality of row furniture. And so this is one of those pieces where it feels like you could actually just kind of treat it as an heirloom piece and have forever, while still also getting the coziness of that woven and the pop of pattern.
Joanna, does this swivel?
I think it does. And it was
Yeah.
part of a design vignette that, and I'm probably going to mispronounce her name, I think Laura Umansky did for Row. They always have such an amazing showroom, and she had a pair of them, and just the two of them together, it kind of made me drool a little bit from afar.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I can
George,
see why you love it. And there's so many swivels, great swivels, this market.
Mhm.
So Rachel, let's talk about this gorgeous piece from Nathan Anthony. My goodness, the Embrace Cuddle Chair. Wow.
This
Doesn't
is
get any
so
more
cute.
than that.
I love this one. I'm calling her the belle of the ball because they did a great job on social media. They had people come in, play with the ball pillow. It's got a heart ottoman. It's very plush. It's a chair and a half, which is so it's roomy, but also can be customizable. It comes in leather and a ton of fabrics and patterns. So I just love it as is, though. I think it looks sweet and feminine and curvy and plush. Very, very yummy for this season.
The embrace is the perfect word, isn't it? Because you
Yeah,
can sort of
it's like
cuddle up in that and just feel like you're shrouded in love and comfort.
it's like a big
So
bear hug. Yeah, absolutely.
with a big bear hug. You know, we had the same themes in the spring because I remember a lot of you talking about these pieces of furniture that really envelop you. So clearly 2020 has been a year when we all need comfort and we all need cozy.
We all need
So
a
it's
cuddle
nice to
this
see that
year.
expressed through design.
We all need
Another curvaceous forms from Don Ricardo with Interlude Home. So tell us about Trilogy Chair, Don.
So I love this piece. We're embracing the curves again here. I just love the shape of it. As you walk up to it, it's almost sculptural. I think I showed it this way because it almost looks kind of extraterrestrial when you look at it this way. And so fully customizable. They showed it in the showroom with a brass leg. This is aged bronze here. And so I just really love the piece. I could just see it in a club room, cigar lounge, cognac, so
It's so beautiful. I love this chair.
yeah.
One of the things we didn't talk about in case goods, but I can see it here as well, is mixed media and mixed substrates. I noticed throughout market, many different materials combined into the same piece. This is really two materials, but Don, you pointed out metal finishes on a lot of things. So did you all find that to be a big trend? The multimedia, multi-substrate?
Especially
Yes.
with lighting. We saw a lot of the mixed metals in the lighting. And when we get to lighting, you'll see a lot of examples with different types of materials like alabaster and glass. It wasn't just the typical materials that we might see. It was nice.
I thought
It's
it
very
was
innovative and inventive. Yes, go Joanna.
I thought it was really nice also how they're playing more with the proportions of the mixed media too. I think using this chair as an example, traditionally we would see just a little accent of metal at the bottom, but now it's a little bit more exaggerated and you actually get credit for it, which is really nice to see.
That's a great point. Great point. We better shift to the next upholstery. And Shay, you want to lead us through these?
Yes, I am so excited for this category. And like you guys were saying, all the mixed materials that we're seeing and people get so creative with. So Thayer Coggin, one of my favorite, more modern lines, Victoria. Tell me about the tete-a-tete and what drew you to that.
Well, Thayer Coggin, of course, is known for, timeless throwbacks. I mean, they dig deep into archives on some of their designs. And what I really liked about this is we've seen, pieces similar to this, modified sofas, part arms. But what I really love about this is the addition of the curves. And, we're talking about curves. Everybody can agree that this is a trend, case goods, upholstery, whatever. But I would love to have this in a master bedroom, for example, in front of the fireplace. You could curl up with your kids, your dog, whatever. Also, frequently searching for a place to sort of a piece to float in a super large room, a living room, for example. Sometimes you don't want to put just the 48-inch round table, flowers, chandelier. I think that this could be super cool in a very large space and viewed from every angle. I kind of want one myself.
I agree. That's a super sexy piece for sure. Okay, so next we have Century Furniture, the Great Room Sectional. Kita, this is super, super cool. Tell us about, this is another great floating piece. What is your favorite?
Yes. So everybody knows Century is a leader in the industry. And this season, they have introduced the Great Room, which is part of their customization seating program. I saw a lot of these custom programs expanding in a lot of different showrooms and companies, where you can change the arms, you can change the base, you can change, so that, so this is an example of this. So the Great Room sectional comes in the sofa, the chaise, the chair. Like I said, you can change the arms. It's offered in 17 different base finishes or base offerings. I chose this picture because of the back, just this particular base. I'm not sure the name of this base, but I just thought it was very dramatic. And as we know, great rooms were part of American architecture that became very popular in the 1990s. And that's the area of the home that is usually the centralized hub of family living. It's the place where, it brings families together and closer together. And as we know, we're living through unprecedented times, and, everybody's at home now. Several generations may be living together, sheltering in place. So we need pieces like this. One aspect of this particular program is that the frames start at 40 inches deep and they scale up from there. So the Great Room is all about cuddling up, easing into, these pieces, and, whether it's watching TV or whatever other recreational activities, work from home, Zoom calls, anything. So this is, I think, what's new and what's next. And so the sectional is coming back, but it's coming back deeper.
Love it. I love it. Okay. And so Yvonne, you also spotted a lawn sofa. It looks like maybe a sofa with a chaise component. So tell us what drew you to this spectacular piece.
Well, this sofa can be with a chaise or just a straight sofa. And it represented a couple of trends that we're seeing a lot in Italian and other European brands and their sofas right now, which is the mix of materials. So you see the leather backing and with a metal base that's slightly elevated. And then also introducing integrated side tables, which is really helpful when you have longer sofas that sometimes you don't want to, two people might be a little hesitant to sit next to another person, or the person in the middle doesn't necessarily want the middle spot of a sofa. So this makes it more comfortable because you have that divider that could be used either as a side table to rest something on, or just as a divider between a couple of couples or a couple of people. We also like the diversity in all the different materials that it's available in. I mean, you can mix them, you can keep it all fabric, you can put it in leather, and it has a lot of options that we thought was really nice. And the side table can be placed in different spots as well.
Beautiful choice. And then Rachel Cannon, we have your spot from Theodore Alexander. This, again, we're seeing that curved shape reflective. Tell us why you picked this piece.
This year, I think probably more than any other year, we have all realized the importance of private, intimate spaces in our homes, because we've all been at home for so long. And as much as we may be like longing to see people and do things with our friends, this year has been a wake-up call for needing some private personal space in your own home. And so we introduced the idea of the quiet room last year, and we've done nothing but field requests for that this year. And so the quiet room certainly needs a sweet little sofa like this that's sort of small scale and has that kind of curved back that just hugs you. And so I also like that this is usually when you see a small scale sofa, you're going to feel like it looks a little bit feminine. And I like that this one is not overtly feminine. I think those legs and the detail on the bottom makes it a little more masculine, because not everyone who wants a small scale sofa is a lady. And so I like that this can kind of go either way.
I love that detail of the foot, how it wraps the corner of the base there. It's such a nice little subtle statement, but part of what makes it so unique. So
Rachel, are the legs wood or are they metal?
Couldn't tell you, didn't go to market, just thought it was pretty.
Okay. Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, and I agree, Rachel. We saw a lot of those smaller scale, almost like an oversized love seat or a small sofa that can be placed in a corner of a bedroom or even in a large dressing room. But it just allows for an intimate conversation between two people, or just yourself to kind of put your feet up. And
yeah,
it was nice to see so many different companies have different versions of them that felt to scale and not like mini sofas.
Right.
They had a nice scale to them. This is beautiful.
I love the diversity that we're seeing in the upholsterer forms. There's something for everyone, really. It's extraordinary. Shall we move on to lighting? Yes, there we are. So, and the lighting category was explosive this market, I thought. Just so many extraordinary things to see. Don Ricardo, I loved this caning piece. Tell us why you loved it so much.
I just thought it was beautiful. The way it was positioned in the showroom with the rest of the pieces in the collection, it was an awesome piece. We did decide while in Hudson Valley that size does matter. And so this is about 48 inches square. I think awesome. I haven't decided where I would use it yet, but I'm thinking about sourcing about 2 of them. I think it's just a beautiful piece, striking with the caning.
Say 48 inches?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So this is the large, and then there's a small, and this is the larger of the 2.
That's a nice scale.
It's big.
Yeah, you could place 2 over a dining table, or kind of like offset over a big entryway.
Right. I'm working on a home bar and kind of gathering room for a gentleman, and I was thinking of something like this in the center. They're going to be doing TV, bar, huge screens. So I don't know. We'll see.
I love the
It's a
shape.
great piece.
Yeah,
It brings in a traditional weaving technique, caning, of course,
Right.
but it also feels modern and geometric, and I love the contrast. So it's kind of a perfect balance. What were you going to say, Nancy?
A lot of caning and lighting, and so that was another reason too. I just don't get often done with lighting. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I love the framing of it. I love the caning with the wood, because I think what happens at the top and the bottom, it like softens the piece, a bit. It's just beautiful, like sustainable, nice. I love the size. I love the scale.
Yeah, caning was everywhere.
Everywhere, like accent pieces everywhere. Agreed. And home deck as well.
So Nancy, stay with us, because we're going to move on to the teardrop table lamp, which I thought was just fabulous. I saw this in person as well. So tell us why this moved you so much.
Well, I think Kelly Worsler's my spirit animal. She is absolutely incredible. Everything she does, I've met her. She's like this big, And for such a little person, her ideas are so grand. So unfortunately, this again, I don't think gives it justice because, you know, the mixing of substrates as we're talking about are really important, especially when you're looking at like substrates like metal and marble, which are really strong together. But the beauty of this, which you can't tell, it's called the teardrop because the shade is in a shape of a teardrop. And what I loved
Yes.
about it was the organic filtering of light that happens. And that's why I picked the piece, because it's like organic in its way, but the function is truly what's organic because the lighting just filters through and the shade is phenomenal. So yeah, again, you should need to see this in person.
I
Beautiful.
found her collection at Visual Comfort very erotic. The
Yes.
shapes and fluidity of it and the
Yeah.
everything, you wanted to touch it. It was just the patina. Yeah. So I totally agree with that. I think
Especially those
she's a
those
very
sconces on
talented
the wall.
designer.
Yeah, she has those sconces on the wall that would just like burnish the
Yes,
metal, and they were just so simple, but
exactly.
beautiful. Yeah, her line is really phenomenal.
Almost like folded parchment and just forms that felt so familiar, but in new
Exactly.
materials.
Yeah.
Very innovative, very
Great
innovative.
season for lighting.
She had a
Yes,
great
absolutely. So the next example is also intriguing in a very, very different way. So Rachel Moriarty, Sasha Bighoff's piece at Curry and Company. Tell us about that chandelier and why you selected it.
Well, you know, I have to say, I'm not getting older, but my clients are getting younger and younger, I'm telling you. And so I am embracing this sort of postmodern 80s that they're into. And I'm working on a huge mansion right now that's owned by this young couple that own a gaming company. And so everything's super youthful and fun and vibrant and self-expressive. So I'm actually looking for pieces just like this. So I just love the Miami Beach vibe. I love that she stepped into our industry in such a big way. I just love anyone that's bold enough to stand in their space. And so I really wanted to highlight this fun lighting piece. I think it's huge. It's like 53 inches. And I'm thinking of it for my client has a cosplay room, which is what the kids are doing these days, I guess. And or a master bedroom closet or something fun like that. Definitely a girly space.
Right. These are hibiscus flowers. And one of the things I noticed around market were just organic forms. It felt almost like the turn of the 19th century where everything was organic motifs, leaves and flowers. And I saw lots of that. And the ginkgo leaf seems to have been the star. I saw ginkgos everywhere. It seems like they're ubiquitous now. So I think, you know, these selections together kind of tell the story of lighting. We've got one more. Yvonne, tell us about this great piece from Regina Andrew.
So we go a lot to Regina Andrews, especially for lighting. So they have great accent pieces and again, affordable prices. I feel that they can be incorporated in a lot of different projects. This light we love because it was showing an example of a trend that we saw a lot of, which was again, like we saw with Kelly Weschler, the mixture of the alabaster with the brass, which is so beautiful. And it's really important also to think about the way that the light's going to cast upon things, the mood it's going to create in a space. So when the light just goes behind, shines behind the alabaster, it creates this beautiful, soft, moody feel that could be great on over nightstands so that you don't clutter with a table lamp or on a hallway or even in groups. So it had a lot of versatility that we thought our followers today could use on a lot of their homes.
That's perfect. I love the range of these things.
Yeah.
Shay, do you want to take the next group of lighting?
Absolutely. Okay, Victoria, this is an amazing lamp from John Richard. What were your favorite elements of this?
I love John Richard. I've been, using their things with, I do love their lighting, but I mean, they make just such fun things and a lot of glamour. And I like that this is a marble base. They call it a crinkle lamp. It's like just crinkled paper and in this casual yet very structured way. And the shade, of course, is lovely. Finial, I mean, all the details. Also comes in a silver finish, but it just really, I don't know, I feel sort of Asian inspired by it in some way. Contemporary, traditional. I ordered a pair, so there you go.
Beautiful. Yeah, their pieces are often like jewelry, like just beautiful statements for the room. Great
Yep,
job on
great
that, Victoria.
finishes.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, Kia, the King's Haven shift sconce. Tell us what you
Yes. And you have to see this in person, and you have to see different images of it. I do not feel that this particular picture just does it justice. But it is, King's Haven is a newcomer to High Point Market. This is their first season, and they were in the Woodbridge showroom. And this piece is just an example of modern simplicity. It's just, I was almost just really wondering, how did they make it? Because it almost looked like it was this like simple, lightweight wood veneered in a starburst pattern. And it was just had a very exotic look to it, and almost a curvilinear look if you saw it from the other side. And it's you can they're behind the bulb. This is shown with a metal dipped light bulb, but you can select different finishes on the, I believe, on the back and behind that bulb. But it's just a gorgeous piece that it can be used as a sconce, but they also, on the website, they have it shown as pendants. They have it shown as different shape pendants, and I believe different shape sconces, but it's gorgeous.
Very cool. Okay, so Rachel Cannon, we have couture lamps, the blush flare lamp. So the photo does a beautiful job, but tell us exactly why you picked this piece.
Well, I do have a bit of a problem with lighting. For me is just like everyone else here. Like, we want it to be spectacular and over the top. And I tend to sort of overdo it with lighting sometimes. And so I like having offerings for clients that maybe are not what I would call a lambda, a look at me device. Sometimes lighting needs to be a little bit more subtle so that something else in the room can be played up, like a fabric or a pattern or a wallpaper or something. And so I like that this is such a simple shape. I like that it's a really soft color. I like that sort of gold frame around the body of the lamp. I love an acrylic base. But honestly, this was sort of an exercise for me in maybe not picking the flashiest thing in the room and going for something that wasn't a lambda.
Oh, beautiful choice. I love that. I love couture lamps. They have so many great designs too. So great job there, Rachel. Okay, so Joanna, our Terriers have the Finley chandeliers, so much texture in this piece. Tell us what your favorite parts of it are.
Almost the opposite of what Rachel just said. I was looking for drama. I'm currently in the search for just like a giant, sexy, glowing light over my dining table. And this immediately caught my eye because the texture of it is just so amazing. And I think it's roughly 32 inches in diameter. So you really do get that pop of drama. And I just love it.
I do too. I love all that texture. Such a statement piece. Okay, so we do have 2 more categories to get to. So we're going to, Style Spotters, we're going to limit you to like 2 to 3 words. So be very selective in selling us your selection. So on to art and accessories.
So here we go. Rachel, tell us what you loved in 3 words.
Okay. This is actually a rug, but it's art on hide. It's resilient enough for your floor, pretty enough to put on your wall. And this company is all about empowerment for women.
Perfect. Great message. So Nancy Fire, tell us about Pelicheck.
3 words: organic excellence and upcycling. I mean, what they do is they literally collect shells from local restaurants, and then they repurpose them in art. So awesome.
Yes, love that. Don Ricardo, tell us about John Richard.
Beautiful. This oversized piece, glam, but not too gaudy, I would say. There's also a credenza with this collection, and I was just really impressed by John Richard this time.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful. And finishes up on this page, Yvonne, with Noir.
Well, I like what Rachel said about some things just need to be simple, but not thoughtless. And we thought this was a very beautiful version of a trending round mirrors that was very thoughtful with a nice brass finish, but still a lot of detail that won't overshadow an impactful piece that might be placed underneath.
Perfect, perfect. Great pieces.
Okay, so Victoria, the Jill Steele piece report 68, 3 words.
We love Jill. Does that count? Interpretation of fabric, movement, glam. It's hip.
So the mirror is covered in fabric.
Yes. Jill
That's
Steele's the fabric designer for
right.
those that don't know. Yeah, it's covered in one of her fabrics. New collection for Port
This piece
68.
is great in person, Victoria, even better in person than in the photo.
It's
Beautiful.
so cool.
Okay, Joanna, the Sonora mirror from Selamat.
My few words are support your national parks, but also it's a mirror that takes advantage of the rattan trend, which I thought was just a very cool application for it that brings some natural elements into your home.
Very cool. Very cool. I love that choice. Okay, Kita, the Charles Herald Company. Mixed media on canvas. 3 words of why you picked this. Kita, are you there?
Sorry, I
Oh.
forgot to take my mute off. Oh my God. Start with the art. So you can start collecting, you don't always have to start with your furniture. Sometimes people worry about, well, will my art go? It will go. If you love it, your art collections will stay with you forever.
Agreed.
I love that. Start with the art. Can be your jumping off point for a room's design. Great tip there too, Kita. Okay, Rachel, the Bradshaw Orwell for Chelsea House. These deco bookends, super cool. 3 words. Why you picked?
Classic, fresh, smart.
Love it. That's awesome. Okay,
I love those.
last category, we are on to more favorites from our style spotters.
Perfect. Yes. And Rachel, you have the callus bed, which we've seen this technique. Is this South in English?
Am I still muted? Yeah, no, I'm good. Okay. So this, I think, is the companion piece to the first thing that Joanna spotted. And what I love about this is we've done upholstered beds for forever, and I think people are kind of getting tired of it. And I like that this kind of has the mix of both. It's got the wood frame and the upholstered piece in the center. And so it's versatile, and same as what she said earlier. I like that the shape is the round at the top, and it's got these little spindly legs. There's a lot going on, but it's not a lambdy.
Perfect. Love it. Kita, tell us about this wonderful stool.
Okay, this stool, the Chiquita, I can't even say it, stool by Kenneth Coburn Pugh. I believe that they were new to market as well. All I can say is part of my story was unexpected secrets. You have to sit on this stool. I actually didn't want to be that person that would remove all those dowels, but when you sit on that stool, it conforms with your weight.
It's so comfortable.
I was telling people you have to sit on it. So it was the most unexpected thing I probably found during the entire market.
Oh, brilliant. I think he named it after an ABBA song. So just FYI from an old boomer. So Yvonne, tell us about the Remington dining table.
We chose this because we're seeing a lot of round tables. We're loving to use the round tables. It feels so nice to have a dinner with friends and family around a round table. It just feels different. And so when we saw this one, we spotted it right away because it was mixing that ashy oak, a blonde oak that we're seeing in a lot of pieces, again with the brass and the curved shapes. We just loved it.
Love it. So beautifully done. And Don Ricardo, tell us about the upholstered bed.
Oh, just a sexy piece, massive, super cozy, wraps around you. And this was their first showing, and I really wish them well. I think it's really courageous to come out at a market like this where we didn't know what the turnout was going to be. And so I really wish Cavaletto Home well. I love this piece.
Perfect. I think we have one more slide. Here we go.
Yes, Rachel. I mean, this is just fabulous. Kelly O'Neill, Design Legacy. Tell us what drew you to this chair.
Oh my gosh, all the vibrant color, the whimsical, you know, anybody that knows Kelly O'Neill and Design Legacy knows that he can put the fun in function if anybody can. So that's what I really loved about this. I love functional art. So that's what drew me to it.
I do too. He's so talented. And we both love color. So I love that you picked this piece, and he's such a good partner for our industry too. So I love that pick. Okay, Victoria, May Goods. Tell us about the Marek stool. Am I saying that correctly?
Marek, yeah, the Marek stool. I coming from the East Coast, our store there, we couldn't keep garden stools, you know, porcelain or clay garden stools in stock that just flew out the door there. And here in New Mexico, not so much. So the Marek stool for me, I think speaks a little bit more to my client base out here. Love the finish, love the scale, love the flexibility of a stool like this, indoor, outdoor table, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Great piece for sure. Lots of texture there. So Joanna, the Gabby Home Cocoa Coffee Table. I love that.
I'm so obsessed with this coffee table. I love it mostly because of the legs. I think that turned legs are really having a major moment right now. And this is just a really wonderful example of it. And I think the exaggerated scale is what really sets it apart from a lot of the others that we're seeing right now.
That's great. I love that piece. Very, very unique too, for sure. Okay, so Nancy, we have the column desk. Tell us about this piece.
Well, I would say that I would definitely say organic elegance. You know, everything's home office these days. So I was trying to see, like, if I had a home office that was, you know, a certain way, what I want. And this collection, Caraman for McGuire, I have to tell you, was absolutely incredible. Everything about her pieces are bringing organic into the home in an elegant way. And I fell in love with the desk because it's very sleek and easy with a column on the left-hand side, and the chair is just exquisite. So it was
my favorite collection of the whole show.
Me too. I thought my favorite collection overall. Just beautiful.
Very good selection. Okay, so just a real quick reminder too, if you have questions for our style spotters, you can click down at the bottom of your screen where it says Q&A. We will be answering those here shortly.
So this conversation was so inspiring, Shay. I think every year it just gets better and better. And this year, I think our style spotters deserve applause for being able to do this in a year that is just not traditional, unprecedented. So, you know, really want to applaud you guys for being able to pull this together and make it work. I don't know that I could have done this if it had happened in 2014 when we were style spotters.
Yeah, thank you guys for being so flexible and supportive for the industry.
Absolutely. I mean, I just am so in awe of what they were able to do. I know we've got questions coming in, and as Shay just reminded you, 100 Q&A. But before we jump into that, we want to again thank our sponsor, Studio Designer. And we have a brief statement from the CEO of Studio Designer, Keith Granite. So we're going to play that for the audience now and let Keith tell us a little bit about what they do. And then we'll shift back to Q&A in just a couple of minutes.
You're on mute.
Because we are able to sponsor Style Spotters, an event that we have loved because it brings together some very talented people who help curate the vast market at High Point. Studio Designer is a tool that is used by over 8,000 designers to run their business, to manage their design practices, to be more efficient and effective in managing everything from clients to the vendors they deal with, to their employees. It's a powerful tool that when I had the opportunity to acquire the company, it just seemed so logical to my mission of creating a better business for the design industry. Style Spotters is this amazing opportunity for you to give back to the design community by curating these beautiful products and sharing them with so many people, especially now during COVID when we couldn't be there or we couldn't see every showroom that was there. So your ability to do this and to be available for all of us who are sort of sitting back and watching what you can come up with and what products that you have found is wonderful. Studio Designer has a big future ahead of us, and we are constantly trying to evolve the software. And just a couple of things that will continue to make the product better is that we're looking at better presentation tools, a vendor portal that will connect you directly to the vendor, and the ability to order samples directly from the vendors to you so that you can manage the products and manage the process so much better. So thank you again for allowing us to sponsor Style Spotters. Enjoy this program. And if you need to know more about Studio Designer, please go to studiodesigner.com. Thank you. I'm Keith Granite.
Okay, so now we're going to open up our Q&A portion of the program. So again, we have to see lots of questions coming in. If you have a question for our Style Spotters, you can just click on the bottom of the Q&A at the bottom of your screen and type it there. And let's get right to it. Okay, so one of the questions that we have from Santa Baker, it says, who had the best textiles? Anybody want to jump in on that?
I always personally love Leloy. I think that they do some really amazing collaborations with different influencers, different celebrities, different artists. I remember when they did the rifle collaboration, that was just so beautiful. And they always just have such amazing textural pillows. So that's my answer. I know it's pretty basic, but I love Leloy.
Anybody else want to chime in on textiles? Did anyone, a lot of comments coming in for Tebow. Did anybody go to
I
the
was just
Tebow
gonna say
showroom?
Tebow.
Okay.
Tebow would be my selection on that one. I was definitely watching. They did a great job of doing lives. You know, I attended virtually, so I was just watching some people walk through the showroom and show some of their new offerings. So I thought they did an amazing job.
Their showroom looked amazing in person, Rachel. You would have flipped for all of the flowers and color, and it was really extraordinary.
Yeah.
Shay, one of the other questions is related. They were asking about favorite bedding. Were there favorite bedding collections this market that stood out to you Style Spotters?
That's Don Ricardo's department.
Is that Don Ricardo's department? Oh, that's right. Yes.
I love Wildcat Territory. They show in Alden Parks, and so they do a custom bedding program, and I just love all the options that they have, and so I love them. Also, MD, their textiles, they do drapery, bedding, pillows. I like their stuff too, and I just feel like tons of showrooms. Everything you wanted to run up to and touch, everything was a knobby boucle or faux shearling, or everything was just. You just wanted to feel it, you know?
Yeah, the book
was another standout, and this was an important year for them because Anne had passed away last year, as most of you know. Her daughter Jane has taken over. So it was really nice to see her follow in her mom's footsteps and be forward-thinking and keep that sort of signature style really relevant. I love seeing that the brand's not going to suffer in any way. So
Yeah, Gary, I agree. Yeah, I felt the same way. I was happy, and I thought their bedding looked fabulous. It was so great to see them there.
It was, as Don said, it was so tactile. I just kept touching this one coverlet. I thought, I've got to take this home with me. You know, will it fit in a bag? And it's great.
Real quick question I see coming in. Somebody's asked, before, we're going to go on to another question after this, but are the products that we talked about today available to purchase for non-interior designers? So to answer that really quickly, everything that we discussed today for manufacturers do need to be purchased through an interior designer or a local retailer. So, but that's a great question. Okay, so next, let's see, is 2021 the last year for brass? Who wants to jump in on that one?
I thought it was 1978.
No, I think
No, never.
I agree. No, never. I think that mixing metals has become super accepted. You know, I tell my clients all the time who get nervous about brass and, what am I supposed to use? What's on trend? Well, just look at David Yurman.
I
Has he not combined those metals and made a million? So, if he can do it, we can all do it.
I agree. And I saw so much brass and lighting this season too.
Yes.
So I don't think it's going anywhere. I think as accents, it's fabulous, but depending upon like what product it's in and how the substrate's used, I think it's here.
And
I mean, I think an interior that is heavily where every finish or every base is brass, I think that may be, overkill or on its way out, but mixing the metals, and everybody can't necessarily do that or doesn't feel comfortable with that, but I believe that all metals will always be, it's about suitability. Oh my God, I cannot pronounce it. You know what I'm trying to say.
I think it also depends on the finish too. The satin finishes are really pretty. And one of the things we're seeing are the rule of threes. We're seeing 3 things in one, travertine, wood, and metal. So it's really, really easy to play with some of these finishes now.
I think the thing to take a look at or kind of consider is the quality of that brass finish. So sometimes when you see it a little too yellow, it doesn't feel as refined. So, or what you might be comfortable for you. So more so than is brass going to be out, I think it's more that it's getting better and you're being able to identify when it was not as well done than when it's as well done as it is now. And Victoria said it really good with the David Yurman example. And something we get that question a lot, but he's been doing it for 20 years or more, and it just looks really great. So if you're able to find that one piece that mixes metals, that sometimes makes people more comfortable to have the separate metals in different parts of their home. But it adds to a curated feel that makes it feel designed.
Yeah, great job.
Any of you noticed that copper is starting to emerge again? And I noticed it in Barclay Butera's collection. And of course, copper is intrinsically antiviral. So is there a COVID connection there? Did you see those warmer metal finishes? Zinc and copper are the 2 best for virus protection.
Does it varnish at all? Does it age?
It's a living finish, so in most cases it will change color over time.
Oh, that could add to the beauty of a piece.
Yeah.
And personality.
I noticed it in Barclay. I just wondered if you noticed it anywhere else at Market.
No, I didn't.
We had a couple of questions about mixing metal finishes, so I was trying to sort of speak to their questions. So
yeah, I think that was a great topic, a great question we get a lot of.
Definitely. Okay, so Kathy Devereaux is asking, for those who attended High Point Market in person, can you comment on the showroom experience? Always so much inspiration. Who looked great? What turned your head and what made you catch your breath?
Ooh. I'd like to comment on how safe we all felt. We were several team members from our company went, and I just want to applaud High Point for the job that they did, making us all feel very safe in all of the showrooms. They had a lot of procedures in place that weren't difficult to get through. It was really good. It was easy, and there was not a lot of people, which made the experience incredible.
Yes, I felt we were able to get more work accomplished because there were fewer people. We were able to have like one-on-one personalized tours from the actual CEOs and the heads of marketing. And I mean, so it was like, we just had more attention put upon us, which was great. And there was just more time and thoughtfulness put into, describing and explaining and what was new and what was next. So that was what I found to be very special.
Yeah, and you know what, I agree. I mean, for the first time, I felt like you got there in the morning and you got your temperature taken. Everything was very organized. You had your bracelet for the day, amazing food trucks, like spaced out throughout Market. Every showroom I went into was so welcoming. People were so happy and very, very like dedicated to us. And like so many thank yous about like coming in and spending time in our showroom and actually getting more detail than we usually would on certain pieces. So it was a fabulous experience. I felt safe every day, and I felt like it was a very successful market for the people who were there because they were there for truly for buying, you know? So yeah, it seemed great.
I agree with them. I feel like it was one of my best markets to really get work done. I wasn't rushed. There weren't crowds. And so it was just really a good market, spending time with the pieces, spending time with my representatives. It was a really good market. No, I
And
did
videos
miss,
were fun, right?
yeah, I use market a lot for also just kind of meeting with people that I talk to on social media all the time and taking selfies and hugging and things like that. So that's one part that I did miss about market.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of the better times for me.
And the parties and the gatherings and the dinners. Yeah, we did.
But I
miss
was
that.
able to buy sensibly without the cocktails and, you know.
Well, I hate to do this. This has been so much fun, and you guys are such an amazing group. We could literally talk design and product and all day long with you guys. You're so intellectual and such a joy to speak with about High Point Market. And thank you everybody that has been here today with us during this webinar. We just have a few final remarks before we close.
So if you're not already, be sure you follow all of the team members, also High Point Market and Studio Designer on social media. You can find details for the team on the Style Spotters hub page of the highpointmarket.org via the products and trends section of their website.
Okay, and be sure to visit pinterest.com/highpointmarket to see all the products that were discussed today and all of the other great spots that we didn't get to that our team found. So stay tuned for the very popular style report written by our 2020 style spotters and outlining the upcoming winter and spring trends. And that will be ready for release in early December.
And of course, as we tie up a nice little bow on 2020, which is here in just a few short weeks, we are already looking ahead to 2021 for so many reasons. Wow, this was a year, right? One of those being, of course, spring markets. So please mark your calendars now for April 17th to 21st. Registration will open in late January. And if you don't receive your High Point Market emails, just visit the highpointmarket.org to sign up for their e-news for all the latest news and information regarding future events. And thank you all for joining us today. Have a fabulous rest of this year, but we are looking forward to 2021 and seeing all of you in High Point.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
So
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.